Hello, and welcome to a long-awaited Season 2 of Burger Town Garage. This is a special video, and why is that? Well, we're going back to our roots. Not that I've been around for a long time or made, a large amount of videos or anything, but, I feel like I've done some things, and maybe some stuff. Anyways, got something new in the shop. Not necessarily new. Got something in the shop that's been in here before many times. And it'll be here many more times because this is my original 2002 Subaru Impreza. This is the one that started the obsession with Subarus. You might notice some things have changed since the last time it was on camera. It does still have these yellow headlight filler plates, but we have a whole new blue bumper and a new blue hood, which is absolutely littered with hail dents. But who cares? Bombs literally went off in this car before, and I'm not kidding. So, a little bit of history on this car. We picked this up from Arkansas for $1,200. When I picked it up, there was no engine in it, although they did give me an engine, but it was blown up. So, and I lived in an apartment at the time, so all of the work I did to rebuild the engine and put it back in the car, I did in an apartment garage, which is basically a storage unit, which, not saying that's impressive or anything. I'm just saying, we start with what we start with, and this was a long time ago, maybe 2022, 23, somewhere in there. So, like, not a terribly long amount of time, but long enough that it's, pretty significant, I suppose. At least I think it is. Don't let the hood fool you. This is not a turbo WRX. This is a 2.5 naturally aspirated, stock as the world is blue sky. It's as stock as the clouds are wet. Anyways, you'll notice the wheels on it are different than the last time, and that's because the Forester way over there has the shit diggers in them, and the reason for it is this wheel was bent, and that may be because the car that it came off of was flipped in a field. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just on the inner barrel on the back of it, so it can be bent out. It's not terrible, but so why is it in the shop? Well, it runs, it knocks heavily. I was able to drive it from the backyard where it's been sitting for several months. It was actually sitting on those cinder blocks. And, oh, that's my parts car, by the way. Don't worry about that guy. He's rusty. Anyways, so, obviously, I did build this shit myself. That sticker's been on there for a while. But, if we're going back into the history of this car, so I bought it for $1,200 in Arkansas, right? You'll have to excuse my ADHD storytelling here. But after I bought it, then I brought it back, got it running, driving, drove it for a little while, maybe a couple months, and then I decided that I wanted to sell it, and I sold it for $3,500 to my buddy Brian's son's friend. And then the car was wrecked. It was wrecked right here in the front. As you can tell, this part right here has been pushed in. I need to push it out. I actually bought body working tools, like a hydraulic press bar, so I can bend that back out. And maybe I'll do that while I'm doing what I'm about to tell you that I'm doing here, as soon as I get through the story. So anyways, the car was wrecked. Then the car was sold back to me for $300. After the car was sold back to me, I fixed it again. It was mostly just the damage and a salvage title, so I put it on rebuilt title status, got it registered, and back on the road. Sold it again for $3,500 to my buddy Dylan. So, and I told him when I sold it to him that I get first right of refusal of the car because, I've already bought and sold the car probably twice now. So he messages me probably a couple months later and says, hey, the motor's making a weird noise. You think it's knocking? And I was like, I don't know. Probably best to play it safe though. Don't destroy it. And so he did, and he let it sit for a little while because I think he was going to fix the engine on it, but he decided to go ahead and sell it. And he let me know that he was selling it, sold it to me for $1,000, and I got it back. When I got it back, it had a yellow hood on it and a gray front bumper, but I bought that parts car out back, and it came with this bumper and this hood. So, big thumbs up for that. I mean, yes, the hail dents suck, but it's better than it being yellow. Anyways, so why is it here? Obviously, it's knocking. And because it's knocking, it will probably need a new engine because, yes, it can be rebuilt with a crankshaft, pistons, etc., etc. But why do that when I have a perfectly good engine right here? I say perfectly good, but it needs one of these. It needs a rebuild kit. So I've got one of these for this engine on order. This is out of a 2004 Impreza. I think it was also, no, it was a sedan, but yeah, pretty sure the battery is just totally kaput on this. Yeah, there's no life left in this. So, why did I say a bomb went off on this? You can see this residue right here. Someone legitimately set off fireworks in this car. Not just some sparklers. They set off a mortar. And they broke that window to do it. So they smashed that window, threw the mortar in, blew up. It destroyed the radio, destroyed the seats, destroyed everything. I had my buddy Carlos sell me the entire interior out of another car just so I could put it in this one. So I did. So this whole interior is out of like a 2002 Outback, which is basically the same thing as an Impreza. It has the same interior, but this isn't even the interior that's going to stay, because if we recall Mr. Parts car, let me just walk out here. It's very wet today. It's been raining pretty much all day. I love it. This is the parts car. It is also a 2002. This is a WRX though. When I got it, it didn't come with an engine or transmission, which is fine, whatever. I do have an EJ205. Also, it's got a tree growing out of it. I'm gonna leave that because I think it's kind of cool. But should I decide to WRX swap that Impreza, I do have the whole harness here. I would need to get the engine harness, but I digress. This has the cool blue seats in it, and these seats are in relatively decent shape. It does have a suspiciously dick-shaped sweat mark there, but we're not gonna think too much about that. But it's got front and rear seats. It does have the dash. It has a pretty neat looking steering wheel that's unfortunately kind of destroyed. No gauge cluster in it. I can't remember if I took that out or if somebody else did. But, I mean, it's got the dash. It's got center console. I mean, it's got the shifter in it, although it's not hooked up to anything. Apparently, it's also had mice in it. That's fine. The rear seats are, I think, just as good as the fronts. A little dirty, but they're seats, and they're blue. And it also has this black carpet. So my plan is to entirely remove this whole interior and put it in that car. Oh, I thought this was funny. Check this out. Someone's first Subaru. They're in the military. They're into scuba diving, pets. They like fixing things. 100,000 miles. Photography, rally, breast cancer, mountain biking, and camping. This person did everything. But no rear interior here really to speak of, but my blue one already has the interior in it. But unfortunately, this car is plagued with just oodles of rust. And you know, if it's there, it's probably up in the spring perch. Yep, I can already see it up there. So this car is totaled. I'm not really sure what's going on with the wheels here. I don't like these wheels. I might keep these as rollers, but I really intend on just taking this whole car, stripping everything I need or want out of it. See, like, these doors would be nice if it wasn't for this rust that's been kind of repainted. But like, I've got 4 good windows here. I've got this window. I've got a whole hatch I can use and a spoiler. Rear windshield wiper if I need one. I even got this little step cover that mine doesn't have. Bumper. Like, this car has pretty much... This is all just parts for my car. That's it. And that's fine. I don't need it to be anything else. I could even... Well, if it wasn't rusty down there, I could take this, drill this out, and put this whole subframe in my car, because my car's bent pretty badly. So I could do that, and I might. Also, I'm pretty sure on my car the windshield wiper mechanism is loose, so it kind of flaps around. But yeah. It also came with a couple of spare tires. Ignore my jungle. This is where a couple of stray cats live. I got some food for them. Here is my hollow fender. I've got a black fender. I've got 2 blue ones. These are off of that car. And this hood is the hood that was on the blue Subaru when I bought it. And this door is from that shed. It was already fallen off, so I just kind of helped it. Oh, and that bumper was the one that was on this blue Subaru when I got it back. Oh, I need to move my rug back in. I was using this as a jack pad. Anyways, yeah, so constant projects going on here. I know you don't need an update on the truck, but I got the truck back from the transmission shop. They fixed the leak. However, they did put a big dent in the side of it. I don't know if you want to see that, but if you don't care, you can skip past this part or click out of this video. But for the people that do want to see it, there's actually quite a few more updates that I want to share. But we'll start with the truck. So the truck is no longer leaking transmission fluid. That is from the AC. But there's no more transmission fluid leak. The exhaust Y pipe still leaks. I have a clamp, but I need to tighten it. Excuse me. I got a truck topper for like $100. But this is the dent here. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, you can tell. Right here. Looks like somebody backed into it. So trying to figure out with the shop and see what we can do about that, if anything. It's a shame about the rust. Otherwise this bed would have been perfect. If I can get a new bed, that'd be fine. WRX, still running great, no problems. Forester, still running great, no problems. Now it's got mud tires. Oh, the Dodge Dart is done. It's been painted. I've got a whole front bumper on it, fully rebuilt, ready to go to its owner. And then this is what was on my last video. This is my 1970 Buick Electra with the 445 in it. This, I was kind of going through a couple of phases where I was like, I'm going to sell it, I'm not going to sell it, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to rebuild it, I'm going to, you know, just throw some seats in it and try to get it running. I think I'm still kind of up in the air about it, but if I do keep it, and I probably will unless someone trades me something that I really want for it, I'm going to get the engine running, driving, fix the brakes, and half-ass recover the seat, get the seat bolted in, get rid of the mouse piss smell, maybe put the dash back together, like, you know, slowly piece it together. You know, I'm not in a rush, obviously, because this thing hasn't moved in 30 years, and it's probably not going to move for another 5. But yeah, so things are happening here. WRX may or may not get sold. I don't know yet. Kind of depends on how the Impreza goes, because if I get the Impreza and driving, then I'll have 4 running and driving cars. The Dart's already sold, just waiting on title work to show up so I can send it on its way. But provided I can get this car running and driving and out of the garage and permanently-ish, then, you know, I'll have a good running driving car. And then that engine is the EJ205 I mentioned earlier. That one is going to get rebuilt and probably sold as a, you know, rebuilt moderate condition engine, because I think my buddy Carlos told me it was running and driving. It just had a bad head gasket, so I already have the rebuild kit for it. I just got to pull it apart, put the head gaskets on it, you know, and the rest of the gaskets, and that's it. If I can get it to spin somehow, I think I should be able to bolt a starter to it. If I can get it to spin, I can do a compression check on it, and then I can sell it for that much more, because people care about compression numbers. Anyways, I realize this is more of a talking video than a doing video, but I'm trying to solidify my plans, and this is kind of adding a little bit of accountability to it, so that I can more or less force myself, excuse me, so I can force myself to do the work that I've been saying I was gonna do for the longest time. But here is the original engine that I put in that apartment garage all those years ago. I bought this engine actually from a guy in, wait, why is that unplugged? Huh, I wonder what that is. I bought this engine from a guy in Norman, Oklahoma. It was out of like a 2013 or 2008 or 7 Impreza wagon. This is actually EJ253, and if you see here, this would have come with an EJ251 engine, but they are interchangeable. You just have to block off the EGR port and, you know, slap your intake on and you're good to go. Not much is different otherwise. Now, there are AVCS engines that I didn't know about at the time, but I do now. The AVCS EJ253 engines will not swap into these without more work or without different timing gears. But basically, if it's an single overhead cam, non-AVCS engine, like no variable valves at all, just straight up engine, it'll fit in these and it'll work just fine. Anyways, rambling for quite some time now, and I think this is a good place to, I don't know if I'm going to end it here. I'm going to start it here, and if I end up doing some work on it this weekend, which I probably will because I need to pull the engine out, which should take all of like a couple hours, then I want to make a video out of this, because every other time I've taken the engine out of this, I've made a video about it. So why break tradition now? Anyways, this has been possibly part 1 of this video or the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Here's part 3 of the same video of this '02 Impreza that I'm rebuilding. So I got into the new engine. It was a used engine that I bought from a guy in McPherson, Kansas, for like $250. Neither of us could tell the condition of the engine. internally, and it was like late. I had just driven a bunch, so I didn't know what the hell was going on. But anyways, check out this engine. So there was a little bit of water in the oil, which could either be a bad head gasket, or it could have been a bad, or it could have been leaking from somewhere. But anyways, look at these. Let me turn on my light here. Look at these cylinders. They're not in great shape. They're kind of rusty, obviously. I'm gonna take this over here. I got both heads off, so you can see every single cylinder in this thing is rusty. But it rolls over. There's no knocking noises in it when I rotate it around. It does have a Killer Bee oil pickup in it. I don't think this is the Killer Bee baffle, but it does have a baffle in it. So what I'm thinking is, since that engine has a bad rotating assembly in it, but a good block and good heads, this engine has probably bad pistons and bad block from rust. Why not just combine them? I can take the crankshaft and piston rods and bearing, or well, not bearings, but I can take piston rods and crankshaft out of this and put it in that one. Why not? I mean, every other part of this car has been Frankenstein together. Why not the engine too? I mean, it's already got an EJ253 in it, which this car would have never had. This is an EJ251, which I was going to put it essentially back to stock, but you know, this engine sucks. So why not? I already put a a new crankshaft seal in it, but I can always just pop that out and put it in that one. Why not? Because that one apparently needs it too. It also looks like it might have been leaking around that little access panel there. I don't know. This one does not really look like that. Well, maybe a little, actually, right there. But we can pop that off when we get the engine apart to swap everything over. We can re-RTV all those access panels and everything. But I think this should be doable, because that block is really clean. No rust. I mean, it was just running and driving literally yesterday. And this one came out of a car that some guy was disassembling in the middle of a parking lot. So, like, you know, you get a little of both warrants in this one, I guess. Plus, it'll be a good opportunity to split the block and get back into all that, because I really like the engine building aspect, not necessarily just slapping heads on it and gaskets, which is what I was going to do with this. And in fact, I have an engine gasket set coming tomorrow for this. But why not just go all the way and do the whole thing? I might even actually have a set of main bearings already. Huh, I have to check on that. The only thing else I would need, actually I don't need piston bearings. If I just take this crank and pistons out of this and slap it in that, I don't have to change the piston or the rod bearings. I only need to change the main bearings. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Decision made. Anyways, let me get these engines off the stand here, and we're to the workbench. Here are the heads, by the way, off of that engine. As you can tell, there's got some rust and some carbon buildup on them. It's not pretty. But I know the heads out of the other engine are way better than this, because I actually took the time way back in my apartment garage to wire wheel the combustion chambers, clean them up really good. I even took them to work and used our parts washer to clean them up. So these heads are, if either, probably warped anyways, because I think that based on how the head gaskets look, I'm pretty sure it had already been overheated, but I'll let you see for yourself. See? These head gaskets look terrible. Like all the paint's peeling and all that crap. And also, I don't know where it's at, but there's a little plastic thing that mounted like right here for the timing cover to mount on that was melted. So something in here got hot enough to melt plastic. So I'm pretty sure this block and these heads are toast-ish. They could probably be resurfaced, but why bother since I have a good set of everything right here. So let's get this going and see how much I can get done. Things have escalated slightly. So in a sketchy maneuver, I used that along with my engine stand. Put these two engines on this table, which by the way was built it was overbuilt specifically for this purpose, so I could build probably like 2, maybe 3 Subaru engines at the same time. Anyways, this is the engine out of the blue Subaru. And I found that this piston and probably this piston both have kind of a slight knock when I hit them with the handle of the hammer. This one did no such thing. And I think I mentioned earlier, this one has the Killer Bee oil pickup. So that'll be... Oh. Why it look like that? Anyways, I'll be cleaning this out thoroughly. But then I'll be... Oh, I know what it is. There was water in here. So that's probably just schmoo from that being mixed. Anyways, I'm going to take this engine casing apart. And we'll have these pistons and this block and new main bearings. And then we'll have this oil pickup, this crankshaft and rods and rod bearings go into this block. Does that make sense? Yeah, because if this one's not knocking, if these bearings are good, put them in this casing, use the heads from this one, which are those two. I know because I rebuilt those myself like 3 years ago. And I didn't know quite so much about Subarus and EJ25s back then, so I forgive myself for a lot of ignorance, like installing those head bolts dry with no lube whatsoever. I didn't even know you were supposed to use lube back then, so just, cut me some slack here. But anyways, it's time to start splitting this case open. And I need to take obviously this out and this one, and then over here on the back you've got this big cover and this smaller cover. Get those out, take the disconnect the pistons from the rods, split the case, and then do the same thing to that one. Alright, here we go. Got the block split open. This one's out of the car. As you can see right here, this was our knock. I think this is the only one. It's just a light knock, nothing catastrophic. This crankshaft is probably salvageable. Unfortunately, I don't know if I trust just tossing some bearings in there and calling it a day, So I'm going to do the responsible thing and take this known bad crankshaft and rods and pistons out, or crankshaft and rods, and I'm going to put that unknown, possibly good, but potentially terrible crankshaft and rods in this block. So yeah, that was fun. Make sure you get all the bolts out. It comes apart a lot easier that way. Okay, it's been probably like a week or two since the last time I recorded a video on, well, not a week or two, it's been like a couple days, but I've got all the coolant stuff plumbed. I've got all the front accessories on. I've got the intake on. I've got new fuel lines because the old ones were kind of crusty. I charged the battery. It's from not last year, 2 years ago, so it should be fine. I charged it, so yeah, we'll see. Anyways, I'm gonna set you guys up here, and hopefully what you see is a running and driving Subaru with no problems. But here goes nothing. The window doesn't work anymore. I'll deal with that later. Anyways, here goes nothing. 3, 2, 1. Just like that. Got nothing coming out the bottom. Let me open the garage door. So that smoke that you see around here, I think, is all off of the header. There's a bunch of oil and stuff on it. So I'm pretty convinced that's where it's coming from. There's what appears to be a mild vacuum leak, but otherwise, it's doing just fine. See, idle down. Got nothing coming out the exhaust, except for, exhaust. I'm gonna rev it up just a little bit. Oh yeah, she's back, baby. She's fucking back. Oh, that's beautiful. Listen how quiet that is. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted out of this thing again. Is it just to be a little runner, little tool around town. Anyways, let's take a little tour around it, shall we? Not bad for a first start, I'd say. I've learned a couple things since the last time I did this. Just a few, maybe. I'm gonna have to check the transmission fluid because the pump was off and it was kind of hanging for a little bit, but not a big deal. Looks like we're a little low on power steering fluid. We'll have to fill that up. I'm just gonna leave that off actually. So fill that up, check transmission fluid. I'm gonna recheck the oil now that it's been running. I'm gonna let it get up to temp though, start circulating so I can get all the coolant flowed out. And mind you, probably 4 days ago, this engine was sitting on my workbench as like this. It was sitting in 2 halves, and here's the crankshaft from it. And number 1 piston here is definitely shredded bearing. Actually, here's the oil pan. I was using it to bleed the brakes, but check out how much metal is in there. That's all from the that number 1 bearing. Let's see, we got no leaks under here. That's good. Better than it was before, because I can tell you when I rebuilt this engine originally, I definitely did not torque the heads properly. There's a lot of stuff that I did wrong that I know now, because, you know, I've rebuilt a couple engines by now, and this was my first. This actual engine, by the way, because that crankshaft is out of this block and everything. This is the first block that I drove down to Oklahoma, bought, and was able to get it in the car and get it rebuilt and running in my little apartment garage. But check that out. That's nice. I like that. I like when stuff just works the first time. Isn't that just fantastic? I'm gonna have to figure out what goes here. It seems like something should go here, because it's just, well, it's a sucking. If I plug it, seems like it calms down the idle a little bit. So I'm gonna have to either plug that or figure out what the hell it's for, or what it's supposed to be going for. There's never been anything on this. I imagine it goes to a hose somewhere, but I can't figure out where. And obviously this is the first time I've had it running since I got it back. I've had it back now for, I don't know. I've had it back now for probably 6 months. I did finally get the title. And yeah. So I'm super happy with this. I got some zip ties to cut. I was doing just a little bit of wire management, because I'm not putting all the brackets back in there, because they're not necessary. You don't need all those brackets. Yeah, I think I showed earlier, I didn't talk about it, but I did put new brake calipers on both sides. I didn't do the rotors and pads, because the last time I had this car, I did. I put new rotors and pads on it. They're just, there ain't nothing wrong with them. They're just a little juicy, that's all. Everything sounds fine under here. May have a slight exhaust leak, or it might just be this header, kind of noisy. I remember it from last time, but I don't hear any knocking. Thank fucking God. I don't want to rebuild this car again. I don't think I would, to be honest. Maybe like a year or so down the line, after it's driven a couple 100,000 miles, but power steering pump on this thing, this is original, which is nice, because on my Forester I went through 2 different pumps because they kept going bad. So I don't know, this one must just have the nicest pump that you can get or whatever. But also, when I got the car back, this was unplugged, and I'm not entirely sure what this is. Probably something to do with fuel pressure management, maybe. Looks like it goes to idle air control valve, but I don't know. Something vacuum related, maybe. Really like to figure this out. If I can figure that out, we'll be Gucci. But short of taking it on a, on a discovery drive, just to make sure nothing's seriously wrong with it, she's rebuilt again. The Blue Steed rides again. Now with 100% more EJ 251 experience. Even though this is technically an EJ 253 that I modified to fit in this car. But looks like we're getting all the bubbles out. Also looks like I don't have any head gasket problems. Thumbs up for that. because, yeah, she'd be blonde by now. Nice. Cool. If I take another video, it's going to be taking this on its first test drive, although I know the transmission's good, I know the brakes are good, so if this is the last clip that I take for this car, it's you know, it's been a nice experience rebuilding this thing, taking my time and doing it right. And if you like this kind of content, maybe I work on a lot of Subarus. I work on a lot of auction cars. I work on family members' cars a lot. I do a lot of random crap. So if you like this, give it a subscribe, give it a like, whatever. If not, I don't monetize anything, so it's not gonna hurt me if you don't. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.